Hello there, welcome to Genesis Models. My name is Bob Ward and welcome to a product review stroke tutorial of, we're going to be taking a look at these beauties here. It is by Uschi van der Rosten. These are their metal polishing powders, so a little bit like the Mr. Hobby metal colour range where you get to like buff them off. It's quite similar to that, but it's in a powder form. And because it's in a powder form, right, we can do quite a few things with them. A lot of weathering ideas. I mean, I won't be able to show you them all because there's just so many. What we're going to do is just jump straight into this. We'll start off with some iron. Right, there is only 3 colours. That's one of the sort of downsides to it. It's iron, steel and chrome. But for kind of weathering applications, that's pretty much all you kind of would need. But I mean, it would be nice if there was more. So what we're going to do, we get our iron out. Now they are £10 a pot, which is quite expensive. But in all fairness, I mean, there is a lot of powder in here for what we're going to use it for. You know, you buy one of these, it's going to last you a long time. You probably won't have to go out and buy them at all for quite a bit. So we take some of this, right, taking some of that iron, right, and just for this kind of biggish panel here, that is probably all we need, probably more than enough, right. Oops. It is messy, right, so you do want to be a bit careful, as I've just done there. But you know, this is an example piece. So what we're going to do is, we've got some of our pigment on here and we're just going to start to rub this in, right, just kind of like maybe dab it down at first. Let's get this pigment back up there, right, move it around. I then like to go off and actually start to go with the direction of flow, right, so probably like a bit of a backwards and forwards motion. Right, and as you move those pigments down, sort of move them back up. Right, a little bit of pressure just to work it in there. And then the cool part is when, like you would any sort of like polishing natural metal finish, it's when you start actually buffing up where you really see the benefits of them and how cool they look. Alright, so I think I've rubbed this in enough now. Alright, so I'm just going to blow off this stuff. Alright, there we go. Probably made a mess on the floor, but hey ho. And then what we want to do is we can sort of, you know, kitchen paper towel, cotton wool buds. By the way, you can apply this pretty much any way you want. You can put some gloves on and dab it on your finger and do it that way. And what I'm going to do now is just really sort of give it a nice bit of a rub backwards and forwards. Alright. And the more you rub at it, the more sort of shinier and natural metal finish it gets. Right, you could sort of do it in the direction of flow as well. I mean, all sorts, just to kind of get it to go all nice. Right, and then if we just remove this masking tape, we should see, and I did do already the steel just here, as you can see, looking pretty nice and shiny, both of them, the steel and the iron. Right, it really does make a difference. So this is why the underside, right, you really sort of need to make it as perfect as possible, really sort of nice and shiny if you're going to do it that way. It's a little bit more forgiving if you kind of do it on top of already natural metal finish, right, but there we go. You can really sort of see how nice and mirror finish that is, looking pretty cool. The other thing is the whole weathering side of it. I'll just start moving through with some of that. I've just done this panel just here just to show you on an actual bit of nice bit of natural metal finish, you know, just doing out a nice little panel like that. It looks really cool, and it's got a nice natural metal finish look to it. Other things, now there's lots and lots of things you could do with weathering, both armor guys, aircraft, absolutely everything. I won't be able to even list them all. There's loads and loads of things. You think of anything kind of like silver, natural metal finish, you know, you can pretty much use this product for all of them. So what I'm going to do now, what we can do is sort of liven up this bit of natural metal finish that's already been put down. It's quite flat. You know, you could go off and do things like bleaching and post shading, but we're going to try and achieve it with this just here. So I've just got a little bit of this pigment on the end of a cotton wool bird, and I'm just sort of like getting rid of the big sort of bit, so I can just dab it lightly down, right, and sort of give it a little bit of a light rubbing in, and just sort of squiggle it about, you know, Tetris shapes, you know, the usual sort of bit of a sort of kind of like a mottled sort of effect. I'm just sort of rubbing that in. Right, let's come back over here. Maybe blow that away. Right, so I'll just do a couple of panels like so. Maybe a bit of a clean bit now, as we sort of now start to buff it up. Right, maybe just nicely in circles, and hopefully what you'll see is we'll kind of give this kind of like a bleach, kind of like a bit of a mottled sort of look to the surface. Hopefully, as you can see there, that has now transformed that flat bit of a natural metal finish surface and given it a nice bit of sort of like shall we say bleaching and stroke, a bit of a mottling effect. We can also kind of go down a bit of a post shading kind of effect as well. We can sort of again load up. Now I'm going to be using iron for this one because iron's the bit of a darker one. Right, and again I'm sort of going to work it into the cotton wool bird, kind of get rid of the main sort of big bits. Right, and what we're going to do is we can go off and follow the recessed panel lines, but sort of rub it into it a bit. Right, you know, maybe sort of not too even, right, and square, right. Remember, you know, a bit of weathering, we're sort of keeping it a little bit random and stuff. Right, now this one, when it kind of polishes up, is rather cool, and you'll sort of see it come out. But as you can see, I'm just following these recessed panel lines. I'm applying maybe a little bit of more pressure in some areas, lighter pressure in others, kind of work it in like a little bit of an area, but maybe not so much in others. And then again, what we can do, blow that off, maybe a bit of a cleaner part of our cotton wool bud, and we're just going to start to work this in, right, rubbing it, polishing it up, nicely buffing away at it. And hopefully what we should see now is like a bit of post shading, but with these powders. Right, so let's just show you on camera. Hopefully, yeah, you can just see now as you rotate that, we've got this sort of recessed panel lines having that sort of a post shading effect, and we've got this sort of lighter sort of mottled bleach kind of effect inside the panel lines, and we're getting, you know, quite a bit of a cool sort of effect going on there. And that's just one of the other things that we can do with these. But I mean, you know, as I say, I mean, just to list a couple off, things like MGs, you know, you kind of spray them black, you kind of dust this off and brush them on. It will give you a really sort of nice sort of gunmetal effect. You can go off and do engines, armor guys, you got your tracks, you can sort of rub on a little bit here and there to kind of almost show a little bit of a chipping or an edge to like some rubbed off paint. You know, exhaust, absolutely loads and loads of things you can do with this thing. I do really like this product. I really do recommend it. I know it's a bit expensive, and I know it's sort of, you probably wouldn't want to do a whole model, but it's definitely a big thumbs up, and you know, it is worth it. I mean, you know, it is £10, but yeah, I think for the cool things that you can do with it, and it's endless the amount of things you can do with it. It would be nice if there was more colours, but I think we've probably got enough to probably do most tasks. But apart from that, hopefully you've enjoyed this and sort of learnt a little bit and how to sort of use these and whether you want to go out and buy them or not. But at the end of the day, it's up to you. But as always, until next time, my name is Bob Waldron, this is Genesis Models, and I hope you've enjoyed.